I'm going to talk about gbpnzd as well. Uh,
I think I need that.
so I'll start on the really high time frame. So just wondering whether to delete all that shit or open a new chat. I'll add the forex.com feed. Uh, forex.com. I added that. I added. Yeah. Yes. Right. I'll do it on here so we're not. I'm not. Is that the same feed? Yeah, it's close enough. So I was just confused for a second then because it's all in one screen. So structure-wise, obviously from the beginning of time, whenever that kind of structure starts, so we've got something like this sort of structure going on. Turn that weekly or daily, whatever you want to call it. Uh, Turn it darker. So obviously at the minute, this price leg here, so from late 15 to end of 16. So pretty much a year's worth of price action. This is still the weekly structure, let's say, weekly, daily, what I just had the highest time frame and generally look at. And we are about in the top 25% of that. We are in the top 25%. Yeah. So we are in kind of real good sort of area for major Hades. Shut the fuck up. Point of interest. So that's the top 25% of this whole leg. Now, obviously, we don't know if it's going to this whole high is going to hold or not. Obviously, we can what happens next is what will kind of determine that. So I'm sure. So I think it's reacted out of this. You have to bear with me, lads, because I'm obviously start marking this up from fresh again. Uh, does that change? Will that make me go back that to the form one? Unavailable. So I can't go back that far. I'm sure I have done. Um, I'll tell you what, let me just flip to the other one and show you. I'm sure there's a trend line under somewhere under that on the other one. Yeah, yeah. So obviously this is the same structure high that obviously puts in the low that we just spoke about. So there's a trend line under here anyway, and obviously there's a wick there. So I'm gonna go back to the other one so it's clean. Um, Good one. So anyway, it's tapped into something up here. Um, there might be a trend line across here also. It won't, like I say, it won't let me go down on the lower time frame, so I do apologize. Well, that would kind of indicate that something in this is the cause of this trend line to be taken, if that works. Like I say, it won't let me drop down to the 4 hour on this occasion, so I don't know why. Um, so we're in the major, what would it be, premium zone, whatever you want to call it, top 25%. So but I think with all of the GBP pairs, we'll flip through shortly, and I'll just show you that obviously all GBP pairs are about at the top of this major structure leg here. So if we then drop down to the 4 hour, so I'll go through the structures. So the 4 hour is still bullish. So I'm just going to do this last sort of section. So we've got something like this going on. Now, obviously, we're trending downwards at the minute. So, and we kind of hit this. We're maybe hitting the bottom 25% of this leg as well. Yeah, we've just about hit it. Um, but what I believe we're doing is I'm kind of what I'm hoping is anyway is that we've broken the 15 under here. So this is the 4. What builds up the 4 is the 15. So we've got inside of that we've got this 15 going on as well. Something along these lines like that. Yep, so that's what I would probably class as the 15, because like I say, the 15 makes up the 4. And then obviously under there we get a change of character on the 15. So that would indicate that once we've broken to the downside, so this is one leg here, we'll have the 15-minute break. Now we're maybe a little bit fortunate that this is all one really big 15-minute leg and it's coming to the bottom 25% of this 4-hour zone. So the possible buys on still because the 4-hour might continue. But if that's not the case, obviously market's going to do what it's going to do. We don't actually know what it's going to do. But what if the overall higher time frame from this POI is to remain bearish from here? Let's say this is the high. Now we don't know it is for certain, obviously, because we've got to go break the 4-hour first before I'd be more confident. But the 15 minutes going to break before the 4-hour. So what's possible is that obviously we broke there. We've come back to mitigate something with this here. Obviously, it might still come a touch higher yet, or not. Time will tell. But then we might start trending down on the 15-minute and doing this to then break obviously this 4-hour low. And then obviously it will pull back. Obviously, if it takes a 4-hour low, at some point it will likely pull back to mitigate something and then give another 1-minute break. So another opportunity to get in. But like I say, there is a real opportunity that this 15-minute break is the early sign that the weekly or daily time frame structure is possibly going to start. Now, obviously, as you see, it wouldn't let me go on the 4-hour, so it's never going to let me go look on a 10-second to make sure it's tapping into whatever it wants to tap into. It's just it's a possibility at the minute. Right, so obviously what is it's broke the 15 here as well. Then obviously it's mitigated something and then it's started to break candle lows in here, which on the 15 and things it's gonna show. So there's 1-minute breaks under here type thing, and under here possibly there. So it's broke 15, it's come back, it's mitigated things, and it's started to do its thing. So I think major sells are on the card. So let me show you what I've currently actually got marked up, because then I can kind of explain a bit better and show you what I've been trying to catch. So it's going to let me go back to the 4 on this one, I think. Yeah, it seems. So this is the point of interest that I've got marked, which is small on this one, but as you can see, it's a real nice imbalance just below this high. I'm sure it's probably a 15-minute high. Obviously, it leads to this low being taken, and there's probably liquidity in there. But as you can see, there's a decent push away from there. It's the high of a structure that's possible responsibility for its previous low being taken. So, and then obviously once it's tapped into that, as we showed on the other gbpnzd, obviously this is FXCM, what I mark them all on, and the one I showed you was forex.com, just so I didn't have to delete these markings. As you can see, I've got this orange line here as the 15-minute low. It then taps into the zone. This also tapped into the zone. I've made it smaller. I've reduced it once it had gone higher into the zone. So the zone would have been initially bigger. I've just reduced it once it's retaken the high. What obviously it was put a high in, it's then retaken its low. So this low being taken here, and that low there. 50-minute low puts in the high, and then it breaks it again. Once it breaks it, obviously at that point there, now we're on the 4 hour, obviously, but at that point I would be coming back on and trying to find a 15-minute zone to mark up, obviously, because this zone at that point there, where this breaks the low, the orange zone wouldn't be drawn. So then obviously you just come on and you would go and look for a 15-minute zone to mark up. Now you'd want to make sure you include the see, I can't fit all the 15 on that. Yeah. Obviously you'd include the high. The zone's always marked from the high, and you would include enough imbalance to or some good looking imbalance that you would want to make sure that you catch so you know you catch the possible trade. So obviously this, oh, sorry, I'm saying it orange so I don't get confused. Orange there. So if you was to make your zone super tight, now it could come up there eventually. We don't know. We just obviously would, if you did it there, you'd take your chances that you're going to miss it. If you got it tight, there is a decent looking little bit here. I'm pretty sure it comes a touch lower. I think there's something in here that I was maybe looking at. I just can't see it on this time frame. So yeah, it might have been this that caught my eye. Anyway, but you kind of get the idea. You'd maybe look through it again, mark some of the lower time imbalances, and make sure you want it big. Like say you want it big enough that it catches the pullback. Obviously, this is where it does it. It just about does it there. Yeah, and not short enough. Like I say, so you want the orange box, sorry, small enough that you catch the trade, not so big that you're gonna get some dummy 1 minute breaks to the downside kind of thing. Now, I don't think we get any of that on if I was to make this zone any bigger. No, no, we don't. So on this occasion, you wouldn't have got a dummy 1 minute break as long as you was looking on at a decent enough structure. Um, and then obviously from that, once price comes back to the zone, hopefully you'd have obviously in future setups, obviously hopefully you would set an alert and you'd get a notification at this point when it comes back to your zone. Now obviously this takes a long time to play out. This has been obviously setting up for well, I mean from the POI, we're talking years in 10 years, I guess, about. But when it comes back to it and we get into the nitty-gritty entry kind of stuff, um, obviously, if the if you had a late on the open of the orange box, you would have gotten a late at that kind of point. You would then open your screen, hopefully, and go, yes, this here is what I believe to be my 1 minute low, which is obviously it's all structure, lads. So I'm just going to draw kind of something like that. It's just the same thing. You'd have maybe had to have been a little bit conservative and gone this overall structure rather than this one just takes it and then you start getting real small swings. So I was very much on the uh conservative side. Yeah. So some people would class that as their 15, I'm pretty sure, but not me, not me. So then after that, I'm just gonna dump some of that. So obviously it's tapped your zone, and then you've set your low that you'd want to see broken, and then obviously hopefully you would get a notification or an alert, sorry, at that point. Yep. So at that point, it'd be time to look for an entry. Now, I only marked this up on uh, Saturday morning, so I actually missed this first trade, I think, or it's possibly still live. I've got a zone higher, um, but I think I was marking it on the tablet. So I would have picked this zone here as it gets filled before the break, the 1 minute break. So this would have been invalid. Obviously because here it comes down, doesn't take the low, comes back, fills that imbalance, and then goes and breaks the low at that point there. So this green line's the 1 minute low. Uh, Now at the minute it looks like it's coming in for something in this. I think this is actually what it's come for, not this green box. This was just a mark and I've not deleted. We'll just take a quick look. I can't really see too much as to what it's actually come for, which is why I'm hoping the zone above is the actual move. So I'll just delete this box because that's not that. So it'd have been this here. It's come for something like that. There may be something in this. I don't know. Obviously, can't go lower than the second, so that might be of interest to the market. And then obviously, I had no idea what that is. But like I say, you'd always mark it from the high to the first, like generally the first imbalance, and this is the first one that's live at the point in where it's moving. So that would be obviously a great entry at that. Like I said, I do think I'm still hoping this one's the one as well. Maybe it'll still come back, but we've had a couple of more swings since then. Uh, so yeah, obviously you see it comes back and taps something here. And then obviously I was trying to sell this yesterday night. What we say Wednesday, aren't we? Yeah, yesterday night. So if I just delete that. So obviously I'm still hoping this is the entry there. We best go look at that actually before I move on.
Well, that top one's the same one I've got, so
Good. Uh,
is it?
Shows look better than that.
7th of April, is that? Or not?
8th at 20 past 2. What the fuck have I marked it? Oh, I've got this little thing here.
I don't have that. Mine's higher.
Oh no, that's what we just marked a minute ago, innit? Sorry. Yeah, no, mine's higher. Yep.
Yeah.
What a fucking spaz. Sack me, Sean, if you're watching this back. Uh, yeah, it's far better looking. Yeah, I've got this. I would, I would maybe check to see if this is news or something though. It might have been a Trump like news release or something. But anyway, there's a huge push here, and obviously there's a bit above it as well. I'd have just included them both on this occasion. So yeah, I was higher. That is the seventh, mate, at 8:15-ish, 8:45-9-ish. Sorry.
So I just said I had.
Not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah,
8:45. Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. That's the one, mate. So yeah, I'd have been there. I'd maybe include that bit there as well, that little gap. But
I've included that
yeah, yeah. There's no wrong with that, mate. It's
just on because of that
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
the second.
yeah. I
But
mean, if you go jump on the second, it's there in it. So.
I'm probably the same wavelength for you. That I think it's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it comes that high and the weekly structure that we spoke about is correct, and that's the highest possible entry point that we get from there, then I mean, technically the idea is that we're going to make a new uh weekly low, which is fucking miles away, do you know? So, I mean, I don't think I'd hold that myself
I'd be
unless
scared.
unless you put a small amount on it. But like, let's say if you get anywhere near that with like a six big stop loss or whatever, do you know, even do 12, even with a 12 pip stop loss, and that's at 12's big for us. Obviously, it's nearly 550 R. So it'll be more actually if it's the right one, because it'd be that one there in it.
It'd be bloody nice that way, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and like I say, I'm sure it's about 6 or 7 in it. 8 with spreads or what? Let's say 9. You know, be a little bit on the conservative side. I don't remember the last time I had a 9 pip stop loss, but
I feel better.
700 and nearly 750 R just to take the low. Obviously, we're anticipating it's going to take it by a bit more as well. You know, it's definitely worth a punt. But like I said, I don't think I would hold that anyway. But the principles, that's the principle, obviously.
Mm.
So, um, that's definitely on the cards, I believe. Like I say, it might
Yeah,
have gone. So go on.
no, just when you asked earlier about it, I put mine in. Like, I'm glad you said about it because obviously you got this with the same structure.
Yeah,
That leg was just getting big, and then this current price it's just getting like months and months are running on now. I
yeah,
think this
yeah, yeah, yeah,
currently in its like fifth month, and I'm like, Jesus.
yeah. I
But
get that. It's
that's why I got like when you said it, I was like, okay, I'll post my thing. I was a bit dubious with it because I've got the sell on,
yeah,
obviously. I was like, I am a bit
yeah,
unsure.
yeah. So I mean, what I'll do, mate, is I'll get to a possible buy as well because, as I say, the 4 hour is still bullish. Um, so it might this might just come down to sort of like this sort of area and then start buying up anyway. I mean, this it might have already started its move. We'll take a look in a minute. But I was also trying to catch this sell as well, and it's just shy of the entry zone. So as you can see, I think it's a couple of pips in reality. Let's have a measure. Yeah, about just under 2.5 pips shy of the entry zone. The next one I had. So my thinking with that one is that obviously there's a break to the downside in here. This low here gets taken, goes and does its thing. So from there, my thinking for that sell was we get obviously a low put in, we pull back, we retake the low. So when I see this coming back in my head, um, I thought obviously we've got the possibility to obviously I'm at this zone, so I'll show you in a sec. But I was either thinking it's either going to cut it's there's kind of two options for me from there. Well, there's three I could lose as well, but like it doesn't happen that often. And not in a silly kind of way. Obviously, I take losses because we pick the wrong imbalances. But if I just pick the wrong imbalance, I don't really class that as a loss. I definitely don't get like arsy about it or anything. I think it's just part of the way it's going to be for us with us trading such tight stop losses. So and small imbalances. But anyway, the my thinking was it's either going to react from something in this high, so on this 1 minute or lower time frame structure. I mean, it's quite big a, for 1 minute, but it just is what it is, kind of thing. Um, or it's probably going to come from my main entry. So I felt it was worth putting something on both still. Um, I'll show you this entry zone because come a bit higher. We'll zing through some of the imbalances and just have a look. Obviously, nice a bit of imbalance there, but it's low down. We get straight to the one that I was looking at. So obviously, there's a huge push down from here. Now I think I must have matched this on the 10 or the 5. I think this wick low here is think that's on the one. I think there's a bit of a gap in this one here. So I was just testing to see if I could have caught it, even if I'd looked down on the 1 second. But I tend to avoid the 1 second a little bit. Um, and I don't really remember seeing anything particularly good above either. So we'll go check just to make sure I'm not lying and full of shit. Obviously, this first one here looks fucking incredible, but could have gone from there as well by the looks of it. But I don't think anything higher than that catching fancy. So that inbox gets filled by the last leg. And then this is all a bit nah. That wick there about fills this one here. So that wick there fills into this. And then there's pretty much nothing of interest in there that looks like. So that's why I was where I was. I could have maybe involved the one just above the zone I was looking at. Um, as you as you see, it's just shy of that anyway. But yeah, I mean that might still be the case. It might still come back and tag into this, I guess. But this little bit here looks quite good to be fair. I'd have been probably looking on my phone and didn't spot it. So, um, but yeah, as you see, the structure kind of made sense to me to think it either that one there or my main entry anyway. And obviously, you can see it's well on its way anyway. So, should what would that first entry have been if to now? Sure, it's like six. Half a pip spreads of three, four, just to be safe. If it had tapped, so it would have been about four as well. Six-ish. So that's running at about 54 nearly. This one should be a touch more. There's a lot more.
Dropping like a sack of shit, that one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at its peak, obviously that one would have been there. Um, so that would have been 27-ish. It reached, but then pulled back. But obviously, so with adding on to this second one, so obviously if we think that that's the high and this is the low of this structure, once we start pulling back majorly, obviously we're kind of expecting that at least, you know, we're expecting a new low possibly. So we'd anticipate that's going to go to about there, which means that one would be about similar, which would both be very nice trades, 81-ish and 37. And that's just obviously if it mitigates in here. Like say if it goes all the way down to the new low, like say you're talking major moves, 1600R, you know, ambitious, but I would recommend. I mean, if I'd have caught that, I'd have been. Then I'd be taking partials around this low, I think, and then maybe think about sort of from the bottom of this, which obviously has hit the bottom 25%, so the buys a possibility as well. So these two obviously are a bit lower than where it is now would be, I suppose, danger zone because if the 4 hour is going to stay the same, this might be the new 4 hour low that's gone in, and it's just sort of going through the motions of it's got to break the 15 and then it's got to come back and then mitigate something and then break the one and then come back and mitigate something. So that's at the minute that's still possible for the 4 hour. And this is just maybe what maybe what I caught was just a pullback into the mitigation of the 4 hour stuff. Um, Time will tell if it starts breaking this low, obviously. But again, like I said, I believe this is just a 15-minute pullback leg, and then in all of this is the zigzaggy structures in here. I'm hoping are just the one. um. So yeah, the so let's think about this buy if it's a possibility. About these structures are a lot tighter than the opposite direction, so a little bit harder to read. Is there any questions, by the way, lads? I ain't asked.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Not on the bit, mate.
yeah. I'll just keep talking. So just on this perspective of obviously these structures being a lot smaller. Now this is the low here. Just let me check that's not spread hour. No, it's not. It's middle of the day. So let's try and be professionals here. So we get a low put in, we get a high. We kind of get some breaks to the downside, possibly here, but one of the rules obviously is what it does next. So retaking the low confirms that that was this leg here was the structure because once it takes there, and then we get a retaking of the high there. Now I'm going to turn this green because I think it's just a decent 1 minute structure. So just bear with me a sec, guys, because this is a fucking mess. This isn't easy, this one. Think. Now, I think on the way down, obviously, we've got probably say it's got to be that, and it because it's so it's got to be it's about that, something like that. No, it's a fucking mess. Um, so not easy. Quite glad, I suppose it. If you was watching it, I'd have been glad that it retook the low and then took the high afterwards. So it give you, while it appears it took highs here, with all these lows being relatively close, kind of makes it a bit more tricky to read. And I suppose in them kind of scenarios and situations when they're just about taking lows and not or not, maybe just get a bit conservative and pick some decent decent highs. Um, just going to make a mark of that one for a minute. Back on shortly. Maybe not. Um, but anyway, we start trending upwards from obviously this low anyway. What I am drawn to is now obviously I've not looked at the buy at all other than we are currently looking at it. So this is all just off my head at the minute. So, but I am drawn to what looks to be liquidity in and around this sort of area. So I think obviously what we can maybe do is if we can find a good trend line in all of this mess, it would maybe suggest where we would want to say price to react out of. Now obviously there's a decent push from here, there's imbalance in here, so somewhere in here is always going to be a good option should we get the confirmations from it still as well. Um, but yeah, I think that, I mean, if there's a trend line from this high, because then that would mean that's the pullback, and then this is easily it would be the order block that takes the liquidity. If we can find anything, then ideal. Prices hit it as well and reacting out of. So if I mean if we can justify that as our order block, like I say, from using liquidity, then price may well just be coming to mitigate something in this zone here. But like I said, this is a mess, so it's not. It's, I wouldn't be telling you to go out and definitely do it, but it's definitely a possibility. So that looks pretty good there. Where the bang on the line there? Oh, okay.
Does it give you more feed if you pay?
Yeah. So I think what you can do is a little trick is see obviously when I wasn't on bar replay that just let me go. I think it let me go back to about here. Um, but if you go on a higher time frame,
Yeah.
you can bar replay a bit further back and it'll give you more. It tends to give you like so many candles from the point you bar replay. So if you bar replay, so say that it's 2 or 4 hour, and then go to the time frame you're looking at, kind of thing, it lets you go further back. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, got it.
So obviously I'll bar replay, I can bar replay there, and it'll now let me see all these on the 5 minute.
Yeah.
You know, not quite, which is a shame. Yeah, not quite. Hopefully George will watch this back in the morning and just pop up with a fucking banging trend line.
He loves it, doesn't
He fucking does love it. And I'm glad.
he? Helps us.
Stop shit.
Ooh.
That's why I had it on before that one there.
Oh, was that one? Oh, that one didn't do it.
Yeah, no, it's just
No,
it's
no.
just a smidge, just a smidge. Yeah, 3 pipettes. What sometimes happens is and I want the 15 minute, but if you're selling say like the 1 minute or the five, sometimes it appears to just poke through, but if you measure it, like it's not even a pipette.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then I mean I would count that as fine. Obviously, when it registers when it draws the wick on the chart. Now, obviously, the more you zoom in, obviously, if you was to measure a pipette, I think it's each one of these. Well, there's three or four in one of these square boxes, if you can see that. So I think it like sticks. The wick sticks to the top of the pipette, which
Mm.
might be so many pixels. So, like I say, sometimes it just looks like it pips through, but it's because it's not an actual pipette in measurement in price. Sorry, like I say, I would still count that because it's in that price, the right price, if that makes sense. That couldn't have made sense because that was diabolical, but you kind of get the idea.
I mean, I understood, but I'm
Yeah.
retarded.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah. Shouldn't say that. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I don't think I can make a good trend line here, unfortunately. But if I could, like I say, this would be a good reason for this order block being place to buy from. Obviously, it's marked orange, so I'd still wait for a reaction, which we've kind of got. So, uh, well, you'd class that or the whole thing kind of don't really matter. It's come lower than this anyway. So if you said that that's the structure or a structure up to it, obviously we get a break to the upside from here, which means that there could be a buy from somewhere in this. I'm just not too comfortable with this based on the fact that I can't really find a good enough trend line and it's not the it's not the beginning of the move as such. So, like the first buy entry would have been this is the overall low, and then this is the change of character above this one here. So, this area would be the point in which I would like to have been in. Yeah. So, my entry would have likely been somewhere like in that area there, let's say.
That's where mine is.
Well, did you catch that, hopefully?
No, I didn't catch it because I've got the entry and it missed it. Well, if that was the entry, it's not. It didn't tag it.
Yeah. I mean, that might still be it might still be live, you know?
That's to be fair. That's why I actually posted it because I've got. I mean, I'm more drawn to the sell.
Yeah.
Buy. I've got a buy entry waiting to be tagged, but I was like, I don't know which one I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I fully understand that.
So I'm to be honest, I'm probably not gonna put my buy on.
No. No, like I say, it's iffy.
I'm gonna leave it. Might as well see what it does, obviously,
Yeah.
but I'm
Well,
gonna put me sell on. Well, yeah,
yeah. Like I say, I think sells the overall move, but again, don't forget, mate. Like I say, we may get a new 4 hour put in, so
mm,
it's just. I mean, it's possibly a 4:15 setup coming up as well. So it's just which would you class as your 15-minute high in all this, Like if you was being conservative, is obviously that's the low that puts in this high. So I think that's all one 15-minute leg, and then hopefully, like I said, we've mitigated up here. We've done a 1 minute break, and we're just going to go through going lower. But it is very possible that there is there's still a chance the 4 hours going to remain bullish. So there is possibly a buy from in this. It's not that clean to go, yeah, there, do you know? Whereas like the cell's as clean as you can almost get. We it's clear that obviously that's a high. we put in a low, it gets retaken, not by loads, but it gets retaken with a clear 15-minute low in. It then obviously comes back, mitigates the 15-minute zone, and we get a clear 1 minute break. So the cell structures are far cleaner. Now that doesn't mean the buy is not the overall move. Now I genuinely believe obviously GBP is going to come down majorly for the next sort of handful of years, but it might just do it from coming higher still, because
Yeah.
obviously if we if this is the bottom of the 25 top 25%, like there's still all this it could come and mitigate and still do it and remain bearish. So, but like I say, this is a wick high of something. It leads to liquidity being taken, so it's a good zone. It's just we'll never know for certain if it's the actual zone until it's done its thing. So definitely more leaning towards sells. And I mean, if you look at these sort of sell candles as well that we've been getting, I think these are all kind of happening in the night with news spread out, just have to spread out with that one. So we're getting major down pushes. So maybe the fundamentals are really starting to line up with the sell as well. It's just with the 4 hour being against us, and we're in that bottom 25%, mate.
Mm.
It's one of them. If you do catch the buy and the objective is to go a little bit higher first, it's a banging move. If you catch the sell and that's the overall direction now, it's a banging move. So it's just a shame that these aren't clean trend lines. And it might just be me not spotting them right now either. So might be a way of spending a little bit of time and yeah, probably worth spending a little bit of time on it to be fair, and just making sure that you're happy with it. If you can find a trend line, basically, that's what I'm trying to say. But that's about the best I could see. But like I say, it's a touch off. Now, if that was bang on, I'd probably tell you to take that buy where it's going to now,
Yeah.
somewhere in all this. It's probably worth checking out the imbalances as well in that, but I feel like it's kind of pointless because I'm not really looking to take the buy, so with that, there's a bit what's going on with that there. Um,
Mm.
That looks nice. Big push up, decent push down. Looks to have filled some of this as well, and that's doing it. And then this is spread hour. That's,
Just a quick one. With your spread
yes,
out,
yeah.
do you do it so to the minute of is 10 till 11. If there's imbalance at
Uh,
2 minutes past 11, are you counting it or not? Because I'm still in two minds of
yeah,
how much to push it along a bit to
yeah. So
it
it's
doesn't just automatically switch.
yeah.
I mean, it's not hindered me yet, but just in like one day.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean, mate, because I slightly change it myself sometimes anyway.
Yeah,
So I'm a little bit flexible on it. Let me just play some more candles. I think what I kind of believe is right is now we get a big drop just beforehand. So what I would kind of say is this here. So
yeah,
this 1 minute here where we start to get a drop. Now, what I would say is that that's people closing. That's possibly people closing out orders before the spread hour hits. Then this is the spread hour. This is technically the spread hour. Obviously, it says 5 minutes because we haven't got the first 5 minutes. It like freezes for 5 minutes, doesn't it? So what we kind of do in theory is sub prices somewhere between the end of this candle when market open, when spread hour hits, and after now this obviously this big push up is just a minute afterwards after the spread hour, but we start getting normal price range. We kind of come back to the open start of the spread hour, then we continue its journey. So I think once price returns to the level of where it started, then anything between them 2 points is void, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So, like, obviously, you've just followed that line across where this candle hits it here. Then after that is legit price action. You'd maybe even say that low there. So, if you was looking for an entry, I would avoid below
yeah,
this orange line anyway, because that's obviously this is the point here that's valid. It's I mean this is 13. That's 13 minutes afterwards. So if you look for an entry, just level across on that and see what that's tapped into, and then continue looking lower if that's what
yeah,
you're going for. So I mean, sometimes it's gonna you might look at it and go, yeah, it's tapped an entry 2 minutes afterwards. Technically, it can be true. Sometimes it's going to be 15, 20, 30 minutes or more. So it's a tricky question because I don't actually know, and we will never actually know the true answer of what happens at that time. So what I believe is if you imagine that the foreign exchange, or I know it's not centralized, but let's say there's a computer that's running the algorithms and it's in New York or whatever, because obviously that's the session. It's almost like they turn the computer off at 10 in New York, and then someone starts it up in Tokyo, and from it being switched off to Tokyo at 11 opening, like all this in this hour is someone guessing where price maybe should be.
yeah,
But then once the system's back on and running from this point where it picks up where it actually is, that's live, and this just should just be ignored. Like this was someone's random guess.
yeah,
So, and we're not trying to take trades from random guess areas because this could all be wrong. It's obviously on this occasion, it's just what FXCM thinks price might have been, but it's not where it actually was.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, to the question, mate, if it's a minute or two afterwards, maybe, but if you draw a line from the point it opens and you want price to pretty much come back to it kind of thing, and as long as it's after the 11 is the best I can do for you on that occasion, mate.
No, that's fine.
So yes. See. Yeah, so that zone I tapped hasn't been. I mean, that one obviously clearly given entry. That one there. Always nice, I suppose, when you mark it up and it's tapped. Uh, Again, though, if that would have been if you had the zone marked originally, like I say, you'd have had to have marked that one as your 1 minute high. There was no reason why it couldn't be on the 15. So just delete that.
That one's mine, the lower one.
Yeah, yeah, that's well within being valid. Get the idea. So right there, obviously this is what caused it. That would have been your nice early entry into that. So and this might well be the buy entry for the first. If this is the 1 minute high, then obviously this will be the entry for the buy. But I don't trust the buy, so maybe just mark it up for entertainment purposes. I won't go chucking money on it, but I mean you'd probably win now.
Probably.
Yeah,
I'll come for you.
yeah. You watch this 1 to 600 come up now that I've told you not to take. Huh. Typical, innit?
Mm.
Right. Any questions, guys? If not, I'll call it there.
You couldn't just look at your favourite oil, could you? Quickly. UK.
Hey, darling. I think it's about to tap a possible entry. Uh,
Okay, I might be late to the party then. That's a
mm,
POI for me.
well, the uh again, so not the best. I think because of obviously this push up from the Iran dispute, whatever you want to call it. Uh, so it puts in a high there by looks of it. This would have been my thinking. We get a high, we possibly put in a low, and then we retake it just about there. So that would indicate that this is the low.
Yeah,
Uh, Now, I mean, I never do this other than for showing you guys, but it's in the bottom 25% there, yeah. You can see that this price action here is the bottom 25% of this leg overall. Um, so obviously it hasn't tapped the zone that I've marked, but it's got relatively close. I mean, I don't know what I've marked. I'll check in a minute, but it's tapped into something clearly, and then it's broken a 1 minute high. So it looks to be pretty much equal lows here being created. Yes, Monday anyway. Um, so yeah, possible buy from one of. Obviously, I looked at these four zones. I don't even remember when I did it. It was a while back anyway. So
yeah. Because I've got on your free entry zones at the bottom. That's where
yeah,
my POI is. So it's
yeah,
just well, a bit bigger, but yeah, it's just about to tag a POI. But I was a bit dubious with oil as it stands anyway.
yeah, yeah. It should be.
Uh,
Yeah, she is a cruel mistress at times.
yeah.
So obviously, I've got that one there marked, mate.
You can't ignore that fucker, can you?
Can't ignore that. Maybe about filled though, so there's maybe a little bit of imbalance in there, but it's not. Well, I mean, that's even from that imbalance. I mean, it looks like nothing, and we're on the 10 seconds, but that is still a
Mm.
huge piece of imbalance, regardless, I guess. So, um, let's check on the 5 on 1. So it's still the imbalance on the 5 second anyway, and then it's a void on the. But we've still got whatever's going on here. I don't, something's gone on here clearly. It opens up at. Look at a fucking state on that. Price closes, well, price is there for 1 second, and then another second later it's done. Fuck off, mouse. Yeah, 1 second later it was done that much.
I was
What?
waiting for you to say
What?
what it was.
I was like looking at that going right, 93.96 to 94. It's not much at all, is it really? But it's a couple of pence, really. But in
Yeah,
a
the
second,
couple of gamble.
in a second, that's a big amount of imbalance.
Oh,
So, you know, that might have even tapped that now anyway. That might be what was the. Um, I bet that's what that wick to the right touches. Yeah, that wick there covers the opening price anyway. But I mean, if that's the case, if so, now I'm shit at late entries. I'll fully hold my hands up and I'm shit at it. It's just not something I've ever cared about. I've always wanted to be in at the beginning of the move. So, with what we've just looked at, it's worth a little chat about. So, if that was where that imbalanced line I've just marked is, obviously it showed on the 1 second as a void. If that was the what the market's come for, and this wick here is the one that's filled it, as it shows, looks to have. That would then indicate that maybe this is the somewhere in that is the next possible entry zone. Now, obviously, prices hit it, you know, but like I say, it would maybe indicate that the somewhere in that sort of area is the next possible entry zone. Now, it looks like it's come deep into it anyway, but got this there, I don't know. Yeah, it gets filled anyway, though. And sometimes oils. I think it refreshes slower than other pairs, like your standard kind of pairs. So I think like gold updates itself like several times a second, whereas I feel like this does it like once or twice. So yeah, that might be an effect on why it's sometimes difficult to read. I mean, if that's the entry zone anyway, it's tapped it already anyway, and just come a touch lower since, but smidge amount. 15. Trust I risk today anyway. Um, just check. I'll just show the other zones I had marked anyway. Um, again, I would say they're not the best. So because obviously the structure on the downside is not the structure's not great. It's not the cleanest. So obviously they've got this lower than the current zone as well. So that's obviously definitely of interest. I don't know what happened there. Is this here as well? Decent push up, a little bit of a decent push down. And then we've got this one here, huge push up there. So taking the buy from above this one's probably risky. Is that the low? So let's check what that's tapped into. I do think that lowest one's the safest option, obviously, so that most weeks. Let's just see me point of interest. It was shy. 15. Yeah, see, it's just shy of filling that. Which again would maybe indicate risk to me. So yeah, this is still something there, isn't there? So it's like it's half filled an imbalance, so why won't it come back and fill the rest of it at some point?
Yeah, I don't think I'd be doing it.
No, it's one of them. It could be right, but it's on the riskier side. So I mean, like if it was a touch just a smidge lower, and if it had just tapped into my orange box that I had marked, then yeah, I'd be on it. But I'm risk averse, so I like to not take that many trades, and I try and only take the better ones. So you know,
Let's see.
yeah. Well, like I say, the structure is technically long still. Just I suppose I don't trust this all of this. I know it's great if you're in it. Like if I'd have caught the buy from down here, it's fucking ace. It'd have been AC and all this. But now that you're trying to get in late,
Yeah, there's too much for it to come back for.
yeah, this is the thing. So like there's something gone on here. Like, yeah, I can just see it coming a lot lower, as well.
Depends what Trump decides to do on Friday night. So.
Well, this is it. Like it could come all the way down to this point of interest here. So, you know, it yeah, yeah, could come anywhere.
Yeah, to be fair, there is still above to take as well.
Yeah. Well, I do think overall we're going higher anyway. So obviously
Yeah.
from previous markups, let me delete some of this so you can sort of see it. Don't know what I was marking then. But obviously, if you look at this structure, we've come back into obviously we've got a high here, so that would be say a 4 hour high. It gets taken by obviously one of these three red zones. It's a mitigated one. It started breaking to the 15 and the one obviously, and then it's done its thing. So I do think a new overall high is on the agenda. It's just going to come back for something first. And like I say, this huge sort of imbalances below the zone that we were just looking at is a possibility. So if you was to take it, man, I'd be a little bit on the low risk side, I think.
Was that a full pot? What?
Yeah, yeah. We should only ever full port
Correct.
because we're not gay.
We all want to be rich.
That's it. So yeah, fuck knows, mate, on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
All
I'm not
right.
going to stand.
It's dead
Back out.
unfortunate that it's just one of them that we should have been in it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe just made a trend line there as well. So that would indicate high prices still, maybe. So yeah, I mean it's if we so now I'll go back on myself here. I'd say that's a major high there. Maybe argue that so this one here. It don't quite fit.
What time's it close? Early morning.
Uh, I think it's 9-ish, or yeah, I think it. I think it's 9-ish, and then opens at like 1-ish or something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, 10.
Then
Yeah, it opens at 1 in the morning.
I won't think about tonight. Then I'll look tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean it's maybe worth, like I say, Mag. I mean, I'd only consider sticking my money on that lower zone anyway. Maybe mark it up and see if it reacts out of it, and if it gives you a little
Yeah,
real lower time frame break to the upside.
so I might be able to get in late.
Yeah.
Might not go off the first one, but
No, I wouldn't advise just setting an order on it, but like I say, if you get now, obviously we all know structure, and obviously we said that this was said at the 1 minute high there. That's quite a big structure for the 1 minute, so there's going to be all this little niggly. If you really zoom in,
yeah,
you know, you maybe catch something like this as a little change to the upside before you get in, if that's what you want to do, obviously,
we shall see.
but not the best looking setup. So,
I need to double my account. That's what I need to do.
yeah, but it's easy to do one trade, mate. You just need to find that one trade.
Well, I'm at 70 out overall.
You are.
Yeah,
That's fucking banging, mate.
and
What? That's what you're up,
that's what I want.
mate. That's fucking mint.
And that's in 2 months.
Yeah,
Yeah, US 30 did it. To be fair, big chunk.
yeah. Nice. Well pleased with that, mate. I I'm just gonna look at Euro NZD as well because he said that looked clearer than Euro GBP. Now he's dead right with this. Um, Maybe should have considered the sell myself as well because I was now I'm thinking GBP NZD sells and I was looking at Euro NZD buys. Um, Obviously as you can see, stuff going on here. I didn't take this. I think it was just after spread hour, was it? Or I didn't quite. Maybe I didn't quite trust the break to the upside. Um, but yeah, this the structure on this one's very different. So to the GBP. So obviously, major higher time frame is maybe still sells coming up on it, I guess. But we're not. We're about 50% of that range. So
My structure's a hell of a lot different to yours and Matt's
well,
on the 15 minute.
yeah. Well, I mean, this is the one I've just drawn is obviously the major time frame. So on the current leg, like I say, we're just over our 55-60% pullback at the minute. Now, obviously, it can go from there, you know. It's just not in a good a place for sells as GBP NZD. Um, so now it looks like I was trying to do major buys on this as well. So there's a possibility that this is the new 4 hour low, which would maybe indicate that GBP NZD is still going to go up as well. Now, but we just don't know until it happens. And that might have been obviously the 15-minute break here to the upside. Not the best 15-minute high, but a little bit significant a high. I think we spoke about this last week, like on last week's live actually.
Yeah,
So yeah, and then obviously it's come back, done a 1 minute, some shitty 1 minute breaks. We're kind of hoping it comes a bit lower and gives another break from 1 minute break from somewhere down here. That would be perfect to then take a decent buy for maybe a new 4 hour high. Now, obviously, this 4 hour high is just an anticipation. Like I said, the 15's not fantastic to read. If it was cleaner, like GBP is, then you know it'd be nice. But I mean, and then if we can get to buy from that, it's fucking fantastic. But what my thinking is as well is now if I'm thinking GBP down, euro up, we can then start to think about euro GBP. So obviously, let me just try to make this sure I get this right. So euro strength, pound weakness. Obviously, that would indicate maybe euro GBP major fucking buys are coming up as well. So just by looking at them two charts with the same New Zealand pairing, it can kind of tell us what euro GBP might be doing as well. And obviously I was looking at buys on this as well. So looking at them three, because there's commonalities between the three. Obviously, two of them was NZD, two of them was GBP, and two of them are euro. So you can kind of use commonalities in the pairings to find the other commonality for maybe that kind of setup. If that makes sense. So again, I'm thinking that this is, I would mean that's the 4 hour low technically, because that just takes this low here. I think we both took a loss on this here. So I think me and you both had a buy from a zone in here, and then obviously which
Yeah.
just wicked me out, I think.
Yeah, it took me out a bit.
I mean, you might have been a touch higher than me actually, but I got wicked out. It just took this low, so I've started the 15 minute. So I started the 1 minute break to the upside from this leg again because it didn't take this zone, and obviously I mean, it's clearly taken some highs. It hasn't taken the overall high, but it's still done it. And because GBP's down and Euro NZD was looking up, like I say, it kind of indicated that this might well have been a great trade to take.
Mm.
Apart from it hit a spread hour. But that might be a case of, I mean, it's about the lowest thing in there anyway left. So if it's coming lower and gonna be right, then there's probably another imbalance at the very weak low anyway as the only option. Or I'm just wrong, you know.
Well, I've looked into it, and to be fair, I have stolen it.
You have.
Yeah, no, I have because I'm on the same wavelength with you.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have had a few where spreads don't mean shit. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it is gunning for it. But we'll see.
Mhm.
But no, I am looking for that buy in the same zone as you. To be fair,
Yeah. Now I suppose the one thing that it might have happened is this wick low at 5 to 9 here. That might have been the entry. Now I don't know what it's tapped into. Well, that's the lowest price action before spread hour. So if the spread hour price action wasn't there, that's the next most relevant low or wick down into something. So it's just obviously it's way of checking what that's tapped into in case if there's an order block just at that point there and it was a nice imbalance, then you could maybe say, yeah, it's kind of gone maybe. But if it looks like dog shit, I still think it's coming lower for something if and when it comes back. Now it looks this is gonna look like shit and unreadable, I think.
suspiciously on that line now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, technically, there's a decent push from there as well, and it hasn't. If it was a pip at lower, I'd be really saying yeah, it's definitely coming lower. But because there's something in here, just makes me a bit unsure. because if you look at that, that's an order block there, you know. But I mean, it's filled there, so it just, I mean, just not having the being able to go like to microseconds, split seconds is we're as low as we can get. So, but in reality, you know, the start of all this candle that might be the entry, purely on
Yeah,
the fact that the amount that starts at here technically because it's
yeah,
priced at the black line and then it shoots up. So that might have played out, and we just couldn't spot that because it's fucking minute and it looks filled. But we can't go lower, so we don't know. And that's a void there on the 1 second. So,
yeah,
but looks far better on the 5 and 10. So looks good there. You know, who knows? Who knows? I'll take the if it comes back and takes me out, I'll take the fucking loss and not care because it looks like a really good setup. So you know, and if that was the entry, like it was just for spread anyway, so I couldn't have taken it and held it anyway. So I'm not concerned about it. But yeah, that's my thoughts on using gbpnzd and eurnzd to decide where I think euro gbp is going. Hopefully that made sense anyway, peoples.
I'd have clear on that.
You aren't got a clue. What's a pip?
No, that's finally.
Nice one, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, lads. I'll get this uploaded, and if anyone's watching it back, if there's any questions, ask, ask Tom McPhillamy. Cheers, lads. Catch you a bit.
Yeah.
Hello, mate.